you will ever see Romero trying to show Rockhold. That's fucking illegal.
Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC 248, Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. We've got 3 free plays that we're going to talk about on this card. Also have 2 plays on Wagertalk. If you're interested, Wagertalk plays overall for this year are at 83% winner with multiple plus money plays, as well as the free plays mixing with the Wagertalk plays at 73% winner as well. So overall, we are really hitting it here. Great beginning to this UFC betting season. Knockout your bookie season is definitely in full effect. Got to keep it going overall. Like we always say, this is a grind. You can't be too excited when you have a big week because there's always another event coming up. That's the great part about UFC. There are so many events and a lot more opportunities to make money. Quick rundown also, this show we always do on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I try to get these out roughly around that on Tuesday. Also, Minty Bets and I, our show will be out on Wagertalk. That will be probably out on Thursday. We're filming it Thursday, so either Thursday or Friday it'll be out. And then I do my bet review show that comes out on Sunday, recapping all of my plays. So definitely subscribe if you're not yet done so. Hit the thumbs up. We are having a great year. Appreciate everybody supporting this channel. Great feedback, as well as the comments, the likes, everything else. It's always helpful. Helps the channel grow overall. And everyone else that's supporting the channel, I really appreciate it. So we'll get right into it. And the first play we're going to be talking about is, of course, the main event of the evening between Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero. Now, this one here is a very exciting fight, and it's one that Israel asked for. And I think that's a very interesting part of this, is that he asked for this fight, that he wanted to have this fight because Paulo Costa was not able to take this fight due to injury. Very interesting that that's a piece of this that we will get into a little bit more. But to talk about it overall, you've got Israel Adesanya, undefeated, 18-0. He's currently at about a minus 240, 230, 250, somewhere in there that you're seeing. You've got Yoel. He's somewhere around the plus 200, plus 210, somewhere in that range as well. So the first person we're going to be talking about is Israel Adesanya, defending champion. So as I always do, I go over three fights for each fighter and break it down, see what we see if actually there is an opportunity for one fighter to expose another fighter, and if the line makes sense to bet. So what we're going to talk about first is Israel Adesanya when he faced Anderson Silva. Now this one here, I really can't take much out of this. It was a little bit, I watched it live, but I did rewatch it again. It's a little painful because it's almost like a glorified sparring match. It was almost a little bit like a pillow fight in a sense, just because they had so much respect for one another. They really didn't go for the kill. I really feel like either didn't really go for the kill. They played a lot. And I think that was great also that, they're both are very high-level strikers, high-level kickboxers. But not much to really take away from that. I think that, Israel, I think in spots could have really laid it on Silva in certain spots. And maybe he was playing it a little bit safe too, because obviously Silva is dangerous. Maybe not at this point in his career, but obviously he's dangerous. And, even with the same thing with Silva, I don't think Silva really laid it on him either. I don't think he was really looking, to really throw out the big combinations and expose himself to a big counter. So I think it was a little bit more of a glorified sparring match, but overall, I thought Israel did well. I thought he fought well. It was one that he was a big favorite going into it. So, a lot, not really much that I could personally take away from it when I was breaking it down, but I thought he looked good. It was a good decision victory for Israel Adesanya 3 fights ago, and he did defeat Anderson Silva. 2 fights ago, he fought Kelvin Gastelum. Now, this is an interesting fight. And this was a fight here that, again, I rewatched, and there's a lot going into it because obviously you've got the big reach advantage here. And that's something that I was leaning towards Gastelum in this fight because Gastelum has that forward pressure. And could Izzy really be able to kind of push that away? And the boxing and the hand speed of Gastelum is fantastic. And power that he's got also. I think he's got, like, whatever it is, the most knockdowns in the division. He averages 1 or 2 in a fight, which is really astronomical when it comes to UFC. So, I thought it was a great fight for him. And I thought that what really Israel Adesanya did was impressive. Now, a lot of people said, hey, it was really close, and look how smaller Gastelum is compared to Israel Adesanya. His range is great and all these other things, but it was a fight where I think you got to take a lot away from it in the fact that Israel Adesanya really fought through adversity. I thought that he fought through adversity from beginning to end, even in the early, where he got dropped at a certain point, kept fighting forward, showed in those championship rounds and really started laying it on Kelvin. And Kelvin, again, he's got that forward pressure. He actually had him hurt. Kelvin had Adesanya hurt and actually went for an odd takedown in a weird spot where I thought he could have actually, if he really started throwing at some heavy shots, could have really put Adesanya in a bad spot, but it also could have been a cardio thing also, so it's maybe a mix. I don't think it was a missed decision by Kelvin, but I think that it was, he was getting tired and then he looked to just at least get a good position in that fight. But I thought late, it really showed the toughness of Adesanya. And that's something that a lot of people are really against Adesanya on early on. That's saying he's a little bit too much of the, the Hollywood, the showmanship and all these other things. And could he, could he really dig deep and get through a fight if it's not going in his favor? And this fight here was very close. I thought that it was a unanimous decision victory for Adesanya, but I thought that Kelvin looked good, but I thought that Adesanya overall fought very well. And the way that Kelvin fights, I think, is a very tough matchup for Adesanya overall, but I like the way that he fought. I thought it was interesting. I think a little bit you can take away in this fight, a little bit, for what's going to happen against Yoel Romero, because you've got Romero, who is a wrestler, predominantly a wrestler, does have power, but I would give the striking more towards Kelvin, as in the hand speed, as in the more technical striking is going to go to Kelvin Gastelum. Yoel has the power and that explosiveness more than Kelvin does, but the stand-up striking, you got to give it more, I think, to Kelvin over there. So overall, I thought it was a good showing for him. So overall, Adesanya does get that decision victory. And most recently, when he fought Robert Whittaker. Now, this was a fight where you've got, two guys that really looked at that a lot of people were against Adesanya. This was a fight that I did bet Adesanya, and a lot of it was because, people are really talking up this whole part where Romero and Whittaker had two fights. They fought 10 rounds. It was 2 wars and all these things, and he went 10 rounds with them. I kind of take that as a big negative. People are saying that's a great thing because it showed how tough he is. It showed how tough Whittaker is. And, he was able to get the 2 victories in 2, absolute wars. One of them was possibly, which we're going to talk about, possibly, Whittaker didn't get that win. So we're going to talk about that. We talk about Romero. But I thought that it was, a fight where it's not a great thing going into this fight where Whittaker, that's got to lower, that's got to be some MMA mileage on you. I don't care what you say. That has to be MMA mileage where you've got a guy who went to war, looked great. I think Whittaker, he took some big shots. He really defended the takedowns well. I thought he really looked good when he did it against him. But so in the fight, in this situation here, going up against Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya, I think, people were really talking, could this be the kryptonite? Could, Whittaker, who's got some wrestling, has the power, good footwork, he's very well-rounded, is that going to be something that's going to be very tough for him? And I thought going into this fight again, the 10 rounds was going to be a lot for him going into this fight. And I thought the good footwork and distance management of Adesanya is fantastic. That's something that he does from top to bottom. You see the way he moves, and I think you see that progression from each fight. And even before the Silva fight, that's when I really wasn't on the Adesanya train in the very beginning. I'm saying, yeah, he's a kickboxer. He showed that he really, he's not able to really comfortably move around the cage as much. His counter striking is good, but not for the MMA if he's going to be tangled up in the clinch. So he has really started to put it together. And this fight here, I thought, was the crown jewel of how much elevation that Israel Adesanya has gone from fight to fight to fight. And he comes from City Kickboxing, which this is a great gym. People love this gym. It's really, they're breeding champions. They've got a lot of great coaches on that staff now. So a lot of great things are really happening. So in this fight here, getting back to the fight, in this fight here, it was again that great footwork. And that was something where you saw where Whittaker, they're looking to engage, but every time it's just, Adesanya dips back, takes that little pivot back, and And with his range, and you saw him when he dropped him in that first round, with his range, he just gets just outside of that striking range for Whitaker and throws a quick, slips a hook, slips an uppercut, throws a jab, and it almost looked like Whitaker was lost in that fight. I mean, it looked from the very beginning to when he got knocked out, it almost looked like he was absolutely confused on how to really solve the puzzle of Israel Adesanya, the way that he fought. And I just was really impressed by it. Although I did bet Adesanya to win, I was even more impressed at what I thought he would do in this fight. Dropping him in that first round, which right at the end of that first round, he dropped him and probably would have ended him if there was maybe another 10 seconds left. He could have ground and pounded him and finished it. But he goes to that second round and really shows out again, does the exact same thing, goes out there almost through the same kind of slipping hook, uppercut hook kind of move that dropped him, put him down. Very, very interesting fight there because he ended up finishing Whitaker in that second round. Now we go over to Yoel Romero. You've got Romero. 3 fights ago, he fought Luke Rockhold. Now, this is a fight here, and I say this all the time, I love watching Luke Rockhold get knocked out because he's just, he's just kind of an asshole. But you've got Rockhold in this fight here. Rockhold is really kind of, the downturn of Rockhold is just, it's obvious to everybody at this point. At that point, when he was fighting Yoel Romero, it really wasn't a full-on thing. People were, they thought that, Rockhold was Rockhold. He was an ex-champion, Strikeforce champion. He's got great skills. He's well-rounded. It's just his chin cannot hold anything. So in this fight here, you did see, Romero, and I think even the build-up to this fight, you saw Rockhold look almost scared, and I think most people are, but he looked a little bit scared of Romero, and I thought that, this was a fight here that I don't think I could take too much away from this fight, but Romero goes out there and gets the knockout in the third round and beats Luke Rockhold. 2 fights ago was the second time Robert Whitaker fought Romero. Now, the first one was close, but I did edge it to Whitaker, and this second fight here was even closer. And it was another war, another classic battle between these two. And the thing that I think was very relevant for Whitaker was the takedown defense. And that was very impressive to me that Whitaker was able to really stop Romero multiple times. And even when Romero got Whitaker down, Whitaker was very capable of getting back up very quickly. You could tell he really, really has drilled that, worked that, knew that that was going to be something. That's the key to victory, to getting away from Romero. And he was able to stay up, stand, and he got blasted a couple times, kept fighting forward, which again, MMA mileage, I think going into the fight against Adesanya, I mean, this is just an absolute war. They went out there, they traded shots back and forth, extremely close. I actually had it for Romero winning the fight by a round. That last round, I thought that he did it. He put the stamp on it and got that victory. They gave it to Whitaker. Whitaker does get that victory, but overall, I really thought that it showed the toughness and it shows how hard it is to put Romero away. There were spots that Romero was extremely hurt, and he couldn't do it. And he's able to just get close, clinch, and he's so strong. He kind of keeps the body lock on you, put you up against the cage. Just enough time for him to really kind of get back to life and then work again from the outside. So thought it was an interesting fight overall, but there you have it, that Romero did not get that victory against Robert Whitaker. And most recently, he fought Paulo Costa. This was a fight here, another war for Romero, where this was one I think every MMA fan wanted to see because these two guys are just heavy-handed, two freaks of nature, the way that they look, the way that they fight, they're monsters, a lot of strength, and they went at it, and it was like two gladiators. I mean, they just went at it to where they were standing toe-to-toe. Nobody was scared to really kind of take an easy way out, look for a takedown. I mean, they were toe-to-toe, looking to throw shots, and this is a fight here where I think I take a little bit away from this due to the fact that Paulo Costa definitely has strength. I mean, there's strength, he's got power, he definitely has got some good boxing, but, he was landing some really big shots on Romero. And you've got a guy like Adesanya who is far more technically skilled than Costa. Now, could Costa beat, Israel Adesanya and, how that, I'm not sure on that. I'm not even saying that. More I'm saying is in a stand-up match where you're looking to bang, you're looking to strike, I like what Israel Adesanya does more than I like what Paulo Costa does, just because the 1-2 combinations and the big shots, and that's all you're blocking. That, to me, I mean, yes, Polo mixes it up, but not like Israel. And so that may be a crack in the armor, obviously, for Romero overall. So with that being said, you did see that he did lose that fight against Paulo Costa. So with that being said, breaking it all down, when you take a look at these two guys, I think obviously the first thing that you've got for Adesanya is the fact is he's got the elite level striking, fantastic kickboxing, great distance management, and mixing that all together and how he utilizes his range and height and reach is really, really a tough puzzle. And again, like I was saying, it's very tough for people to really figure out where these strikes are coming from. He disguises them very well. And the way that he's mixing up with the distance management and having that ability to work from the outside and yet come back inside and then almost trick you to throw up shot and then he works his countering, it really has next level striking written all over it. It's really impressive overall. And again, what Whitaker and Yoel went through, I think could also, and you just saw that Yoel also just went through another war with Paulo Costa not long ago, which makes it very interesting. On the other side, obviously, you've got the freak of nature, the explosiveness of Yoel Romero. And Romero, good, top level wrestling, explosive power, his flying knees and all these things that he does. Very interesting overall, the way that he still is 41 or 2 years old. He's a freak of nature and he's still out there fighting. He says he wants to fight till over 50, which would be ridiculous. But with that all being said, I definitely, you look at the price here, minus 230, minus 240, somewhere in there for Adesanya. I'm hearing people that do like the plus money on Romero, and I can't blame you when you look at Romero. But when you talk about striking, when you're talking about flat out striking, if this is, there's going to be wrestling, that's going to be part of this. But if you're talking about flat out striking and you see the weak spots for Romero, it's definitely the stand-up game. And he has the power, and even when he's knocked out guys like, Weidman, Weidman was going for a takedown. There's a couple guys that you've seen through his career where he's able to throw a big shot, throw a knee, knock a guy out. That's not what Israel's not going for any takedowns. It's going to be his distance management and moving around the cage is going to absolutely make it very tough for Romero. And Romero, again, there has been questions on his cardio. There's definitely been some questions. It's not that he gasses out very easily, but there's been questions on that. And you take him deeper, he definitely slows down, and depending the damage that he's caused, is the other opponent slows down. But Israel Adesanya, again, the big part that I liked that with the Kelvin Gastelum fight was that he took a lot of damage. He took damage, but he was able to keep moving forward. And then that fifth round, he was still firing shots, still moving forward, shows that he's got cardio. I think that's enormous. Also, the fact he's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage over Romero. And I think that, again, that's something that Adesanya is very accustomed to, being the longer striker. But I think he's using it a lot better. Mix that in with his 86% takedown defense, really makes this a stand-up game. Now, even if Romero gets him to the ground, or even if he's looking to do that, I just think the long legs of Adesanya make it very difficult to get the leverage, to get him to the ground, and make this a ground fight. I don't really see many paths to victory for Romero. Yes, could he land a big bomb? Anybody can. But I like so much more what Adesanya can do, how he fights, the way that he fights. He's smart out there. So one of my plays on this fight, because I've got another play on this fight, is going to be Israel Adesanya to get the victory over Yoel Romero. I definitely will be taking that as a straight bet. But I also like taking a method of victory here. And when I'm taking a look at this and I'm looking at the lines, the big part here is Romero is a guy that is very hard to stop. And you take a look over 9 years of fighting. He's got 14 fights. Over that span, he's been beaten and knocked out stopped, I should say, one time. And that was 9 years ago. So everything else he has, he's either knocked the guy out or he's went through a decision and won or lost. So in this situation here, I like Israel Adesanya by decision. And that at this point, and again, depending what you're getting it at, you're looking anywhere from plus 250 to plus 225, somewhere in there. I'm even seeing even higher than plus 250 because, and it's a recency bias where you've got that he just knocked out, Whitaker, and people are thinking, is this going to be a knockout fight? I think Israel just knows early on he has to be careful. He's going to, work from the outside, look to build up a couple rounds, get comfortable, and know that later he could possibly stop him or look to just get that decision victory. Although he's talking about knocking him out, I'm not sure if I believe that or not, but that's why I'm betting both ways here. I'm betting Israel Adesanya straight. I'm also betting him method of victory by decision. Those are my 2 free plays for this fight. We got one more we're going to talk about, so those are those for the main event. The other one we're going to be talking about is Jakar Close versus Beneil Daruish. And you've got Daruish is minus 178, and you've got Close is plus 150. Now, I'll quickly go over these. I don't dive into these as much, but we'll quickly go over them. The first thing we're going to be talking about is Beneil. Him, 2 fights ago, he fought Drew Dober. And when he fought Drew Dober, this was a fight here where, you had Daruish, he lost 3 straight, and then he came back and won 3 straight. And this was his second win was against Drew Dober. Tough fight. Dober is, and you just saw what Dober just did to Nasrat. But, Dober is definitely, he's a tough kid, got some power, some good wrestling, got some strength. This is a fight here that I really liked what I saw from Daruish overall. Now, not just the fact that he won, but the big knock on him was he doesn't have striking. He just looks kind of clumsy out there. It almost looks like it's almost like a Damian, well, maybe not Damian Maia, but a Damian Maia kind of situation where he just looks uncomfortable standing and all he wants to do is grab you. And that's almost what Daruish was doing, is that basically just trying to grab guys. Guys were just able to just knock him out. He was not comfortable striking, had no defensive striking overall, nothing really. And when he was able to get you and get close, he'd be able to find an opportunity, get a limb, get a neck, choke you out, get some finishes. So you see in this fight here, I thought, even though he did submit Dober in the second round, I liked the way that he moved around. I thought that the striking looked a lot better, a lot crisper, and he looked a lot more comfortable compared to other fights. Because when I'm looking back, I'm saying there is no way I am taking Daruish this fight. And as I'm watching, I'm starting to, be a little bit more comfortable with the fact that he looks a lot better standing. So in this fight here, he was able to get the submission victory in the second round over a tough Drew Dober. And then 2 fights ago, he fought Frank Camacho. This was another fight here where I thought he looked great. I mean, this was another fight where, you really think about him as that guy who's going to just try to grab you. But if he's able to now start mixing it up, that really changes a lot of the way that he strikes, the way that he moves in the cage, how the opponent is now going to really be, trying to pick up where these strikes are coming from. And now he's going to be able to hide those takedowns behind some of those strikes. And this was a fight where, again, he came in, mixed it up, landed some big shots, was able to get some takedowns, and once again was able to get the finish. And this was a first-round submission win for Beneil Daruish. And then we talk about Close. 2 fights ago, he fought Bobby Green. And this was a fight here where, again, when I first started watching these two, I was quickly leaning towards Close in this, between these two. Like the plus money, thought it looked pretty good. And as I started working through some of these fights, I didn't like a lot of the things that I saw from him. I mean, again, you got 11-1 fighter, he's fought at plus 150. There's a couple, he had a couple nice wins early in his career, but you take a look even against Bobby Green. Bobby Green, I'm not a big fan of him overall. You even see that he's 1-6 out of his last 7. And this was a fight that was very close. It was a very close fight. Both of them were landing. It was a spot where you did see that even Close himself, Close was, he was exposed. I mean, there was even the pressure. He had sloppy striking in spots. I mean, certain spots he looked crisp, and all of a sudden he kind of, allowed the opponent to land some shots and, got in close. And, even when they were able to clinch, he didn't look very comfortable. I thought it really showed a lot of vulnerability for Close overall in a fight against a guy that I thought he should have went out there and literally spanked and moved on to the next fight. It was a very close decision fight. It did go for Close getting that. Keep saying Close. It was a very close decision. He did get the victory overall in it, but again, in a fight against a guy who's 1-6 out of his last 7, who is really a journeyman, out the door kind of UFC fighter, for a guy that's trying to climb the ladder, I thought that should have been a fight where it really should have put a stamp on it. And then against Christos, not going to get into this one. It was another one where basically it was the same thing. I mean, I thought I saw kind of the same thing, where really there was sloppiness on Close's side. I don't think that he really put a lot of good combinations together. I actually think if I take a look at both of them, that I think Daruish now actually has the advantage in the striking, which I did not think I would think that after watching these. I was really think that it would be, hey, you know what, you're going to give, Jakar Close the better striking, but you got the ground game for Daruish. I actually think Daruish has both in this fight. I think there's multiple paths to victory for him here. I think that he's going to get in close. I think even if he goes down and gets the takedown and rides it out for a round and wins just by kind of positioning and then working strikes from the outside, I think that this is a great spot for Daruish here. I think that he goes out there, he gets a 4th straight victory. He really is elevating, and that's something for me that I think is very key here, is that his striking has definitely improved, and that's without a doubt the weakest spot of his game. So I will be betting Beneil Daruish at -178 to get the victory. So there you have it as my 3 free plays. We're going to have Israel Adesanya to defeat Yoel Romero. That's -230, 240, depending where you're getting it. Also going to be having Israel Adesanya to win method of victory +250 by decision. And then we also have Beneil Daruish to defeat Jakar Close -178. Those are my 3 free plays. Again, we do have, for purchase if you're interested, on Wagertalk, 83% winner on Wagertalk client plays. Definitely check it out. Link down in the description. Check it out. Appreciate everybody subscribing, liking, getting involved. And we will have the Minty Bet show that will be out on Thursday or Friday. And then we'll have the Bet Review show recapping all of the plays out on Sunday. There you have it. I appreciate all the support here, and I will see you at the Bet Review show. And definitely tune in to our Wagertalk show. And this is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.